Hello, my name is Joshua Rudd with Rudd's Home Farm, and today I'm going to get you started on your hydroponic journey by showing you what you need to begin your hydroponic farm. Stay tuned. So, number one, first is you're going to need to find a space for your hydroponics. These spaces can be very small. I only use about 8 feet by 2 feet, so that's 16 square feet, and I just built it up on my shelving. But your space could also be anywhere. It could be even on carpet, because hydroponics does not waste a lot of water. You're not going to be splashing and making a big mess in your hydroponic area. If you use soil, then that means you would have to lay tarps underneath, and you get dirt and water everywhere. So hydroponic is very clean. I love how clean hydroponics are. And so go ahead and select your space for you. The next thing you want to do is you want to determine what kind of hydroponic system that you want to use. If you're a beginner, I highly recommend the crack key method. That is the method that I use, and so I'm going to be focusing on that. If you want to learn more about how to do the crack key method of hydroponics, go ahead and check out my other videos. So after you've selected what type of system that you're going to use, then you need to figure out how you're going to house that system. If you're using nutrient film, usually you'd buy them in a kit, and you'd have to build the kit and have a space for it. But I use crack key method, so my sit on shelves. So you see behind me here that I have shelving units, and that's where my containers sit in the crack key method. So the shelving that I use it's called Husky, and I get it from Home Depot. I like those best because the bars on the end don't actually come inside of the unit, so you get the maximum amount of space. I do another video about good shelving. It's a real short one. Check that one out. Next, you want to select your grow lights. Now, this is the fun part. There are several different selections of grow lights, and I cover the topic pretty well. If you want to check out those videos as well, you can, but pretty much you just need a white light, a white LED light. You should only be buying LED lights. You should not be buying fluorescent or HID or anything. All that is old information, so just buy LED lights. So I'll have links in the descriptions, and you can check out my website. I got everything, all my products listed out about what type of grow lights you should get, but LEDs you should get, and then white is perfectly fine. Don't get the purple and red. Those are old technologies. We're in the new age, new technologies, 2020. We use white LED lights. You're also gonna need, extension cords and stuff to hook all your stuff together, especially if you have multiple lights. And you're gonna need timers to control the lights as part of controlling how much light you give to your plants. Grow lights have the possibility of sunburning plants, and so you want to make sure that you don't give your plants too much light. And one of the best ways of controlling that is controlling how much they stay on. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need hydroponic solution. Now, these come in concentrates as shown here. And pretty much this little bottle makes a ton of solution. I've been using this since I started with hydroponics, and I've made about 50, 60 gallons worth of hydroponic solution, and I'm not halfway done. So get this, you don't have to get the gallon, just get the quart or the half gallon, and you'll just be fine starting off. Now, this is the next part. The next part is you're gonna select what type of container you're going to use. Once again, we're still talking about the crack key method. And so you have two different options. You have do-it-yourself containers. This one is just a colored container to prevent the light in. It's Metamucil, in case you really want to know what it is, it's Metamucil. And then this is just a Dollar Tree container with Mylar wrapped around it. It's a clear container. A lot of plastic containers are clear. So you just wrap something around it. It doesn't have to be reflective coloring. It could be a piece of cardboard or even like a colored piece of paper or something. Anything pretty much, just to make sure that the roots don't get light shined on them, because then there'll be algae. Algae is your number one problem in hydroponics, in case you didn't know. but that's a side note. Your second type of containers, and the containers that I prefer, are these trays that you would also grow microgreens are. I used to be a microgreen farmer, and I grew a bunch of microgreens, and then I just saw how many gnats there are, and it just got ridiculously crazy in here. So got rid of all the gnats, got rid of all the soil. Now I do hydroponics, and so pretty much you just use this same container you would grow a 10 by 20 microgreen tray, and then you just go ahead and you insert these little net cup holders, and then you get these net cups here that hold the plant in there, and then there's just solution in here. Super simple, super simple. Every time it goes dry, I take the plants out. They come out, the whole thing, all the plants come out. I put it into a fresh one, put fresh nutrients in there. I'll never have a pH problem. I did before when I just kept dumping solution in there. Eventually you'll make a concentrate, and then so I noticed that there was a concentrate of nutrients in there, and then okay, well, I'll just thin it out by putting water in there only, and then the plants freaked out. They became bitter, and then they wilted, and so I think I just like ruined the pH. So if you're gonna use these containers, make sure you're sanitizing them, cleaning them, and then putting a fresh batch of solution in there whenever you do it. Also, on a side note, I make a video on how to make these. These are super easy and super cheap. I highly recommend this for crack key method, especially if you're doing vegetables, short-term vegetables, plants that aren't gonna be there for years, or if you're just starting out. Let's say if you grew a giant lavender plant, you can start them here, and they'll live here because lavender stays small for like 6 months before it gets any sort of big. So you can keep it in here while it's small and then transfer it to another container when it gets big. But you know, I make a video on here. Once again, you can check out my channel and find that video, and I'll also link these videos in the description. So, all right, so next you're gonna wanna buy a pH tester and a conductivity tester. These come in a pack. They're about $25. Really great investment. I use these for troubleshooting my plants in case something is wrong. Whenever you notice something is wrong, the first thing you want to do is check the pH and the conductivity. The pH will tell you what your pH should be, around 7 or 6 or somewhere in that range, or else if your pH is too high or too low, your plants cannot absorb the nutrients you put in the water, what is called a nutrient lockout. And if your plants can't absorb the nutrients, they cannot grow, and they will wilt, and they will show a lot of deficiencies: iron deficiency, magnesium deficiency, phosphorus deficiency, nitrogen deficiency. So you could tell on the leaves, but the first thing you want to check is the pH to make sure that nothing is wrong with that. Now this conductivity meter is more for people who use tap water straight from the city. The problem is with tap water straight from the city is it already has calcium and a lot of minerals in them. I have a whole house filter that filters out the calcium and makes it soft water, and also has a carbon filter to remove impurities. So my conductivity of my water for my whole house is already very low. So I don't have to worry about using these on a regular basis because the calcium is removed and other impurities are removed, and the pH is always around 6. So if you were to have tap water though, you need to make sure that you check this when you put your nutrients in there, because water can only accept a certain amount of nutrients, a certain amount of particulates in it. And so that's what this conductivity meter detects, is it detects how much particulates there are in it through an electrical signal. Like pretty much water is conductive through electricity, and so the resistance increases whenever there's more particulates. There's less resistance when there's less particulates, but that's if you're an electrician and you know all that stuff. But if you don't, just make sure that you want to have the lower conductivity is better, and using filtered water is better because you want to control what you give the plants, instead of it already have loaded with a bunch of stuff already in there, and then you put your nutrients in there, and now all of it might not absorb into the water. So I highly recommend getting a home house filter or using filtered water. So now that we're talking on the subject of pH, you want to get yourself pH up and pH down. I personally have used this product, have not needed to use this product, but if you do, you need to have that on hand, and it has instructions on how to mix and change your pH. You want to make sure you do it nice and slow, because you shouldn't do pH up and pH down in the same container. So if you do need to adjust it, go slow and keep rechecking often until you get to the solution, the setting you want. Okay, so now we're on to temperature and humidity sensors. Now I put this inside the humidity dome on my seedlings when I have that, just to make sure that I get the proper amount of humidity for my seedlings, for my seeds to germinate. They're also good just to keep them around, just to make sure you're not too high or too low in your humidity or temperature. I'm in the basement, so I don't have huge fluctuations of temperature, but I do have huge fluctuations of humidity. In the winter, it's very low humidity. In the summer, it's very high. Make sure you get a couple of these. These are super cheap. Post them a couple places around your room, and then you could add a dehumidifier if it's too bad, or a rehumidifier if it's too little. Okay, so now we're going to go on to optional accessories. These are just a few things that I think that are great to add to your hydroponic setup. If you don't have it, you can still grow plants, and everything you need will be fine. So our first thing is our electricity meter. This tells us how much electricity we're using. I use this just because I want to know how much it's costing me to run my grow lights, so I can make statistics, so I can do all that nerdy computer stuff. And so this will give you a readout how many watts you're using and how many kilowatts you've used total. And then you can know how much money you've spent on electricity, which is very surprising how little you use when you use LED lights. One of these lights is about 17 cents a day if I leave it on 24 hours, and that equivals to about $5 a month for it to be on 24 hours a day. So, not bad. All right, the last thing you should do is get this Mylar reflective material. I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend you get the 6 mil version too. You don't want to get the thin stuff. The thick stuff is really durable. It's waterproof. It's highly reflective, 95% reflective, and pretty much you should just use this on every surface that you think you need. Like I have it on the back wall to reflect light back towards the plants, and I have it on these sheets here to not only cover up the holes. So there's holes. If you don't cover up those holes, algae will grow and take over your plants. That's not good, so you cover it up. It reflects light back up into the plants to make sure that the whole plant is getting good coverage. And make sure if you do buy Mylar, you only get the diamond pattern ones, because if you get the like aluminum foil type flat stuff, if they have a wrinkle on them, you might get a hot spot on your plant, like a magnifying glass. It might direct all the light to one single spot on a plant, and then you'll just like ants under a magnifying glass, you'll fry your plant. So make sure you get the diamond pattern, and make sure it spreads out the light pretty evenly in all directions, regardless of whether it's crumpled up or not. I highly recommend this. You should get this. It makes your lights more efficient, and it helps the plant grow. So those are the things you need to buy to start growing indoors. Hope I was helpful in this video, and I hope you enjoy your hydroponic journey, and let me know in the comments what type of system you're going to use and where you're going to put it. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye-bye.